Hello everyone, this is Real Boring Flips and I'm Kevin, and I feel like I need to explain myself. It's been a while. It's been a long while actually since my last video, and it was a long stretch before that one. Um, Today is December 2nd. So this is Tuesday, December 2nd. Today is actually the second day that I did not go to work because I retired last Friday. So if you've been following this channel, you've heard me talk about this, talk about this, talk about this. This is kind of the point we've been waiting to get to for the last 5 years. About 5 years ago, during the pandemic time, is when this idea of doing an actual business for reselling kind of was germinated. And we spent 5 years kind of managing, building, tweaking, making improvements where we could figure out improvements and dialing back things that didn't seem to work. And so all of that was to get to this point. So earlier this year, I had an opportunity to retire early. That didn't go well. We ended up deciding that I would retire on my normal retirement date, which was the end of November. So I'm now a retired person. Now, because I retired for the government, I do have some sources of income coming at some point in the near future, hopefully, to be seen. At some point, I'll start getting a pension and other sources. But because of this delays and not being able to really plan for when I was actually going to retire, that kind of pushed my YouTube off to the side. So I have been busy working on some what solds for the months that I've missed. And going forward, I'm hoping to be able to fill in other videos, some maybe in the field live sourcing videos. I have been filming on occasion where I can. But for today's video, we're going to talk about what sold in the month of August, since my last video was what sold in the month of July. I'm working on the what sold in September. We'll get working on the what sold in October. And hopefully by the end of this month, I'll be caught up with everything sold through November. Because we had some great stuff. While I've been busy not being able to do YouTube, we have been really busy selling and selling great stuff. So the other thing that happened is because we knew I was going to be retiring, I was doing a lot of sourcing because I happen to, my commute goes past thrift stores. So I did a lot of buying, which helped with the selling. But the other thing, I've been doing some tweaking to kind of generate some sales for stuff that I've had listed. So I've tried a few things, and we can talk more about that in a future video. But I feel good about where we are with my normal sales, and I'm excited to see what happens when I have more time or different time available. It was very hectic I'd say the last 6 months, because my office hours changed, really made it difficult for me to do any kind of YouTube work. So apologize for that if you've been wondering. I know my kids are always asking when's the next video coming out. So we're gonna, in a minute, jump over to the other desk. We'll run through everything that sold in the month of August, and then we'll come back over here and finish that up. But I do want to remind you that this is all on the value for value method. So I hopefully am giving you some value with the information I'm giving you, and you in return give me value by watching the videos, liking, subscribing to the channel, and sharing videos with people you think might be interested in seeing them. Before we jump over there, I know why you're really here, and it's not for any of that stuff. You're really here wondering what I'm enjoying, and today I'm enjoying, this is going to be interesting. I think I may have had a version of this before, but not this particular flavor. But this is a Cococito coconut water watermelon, and it's the big can, so we're gonna have to pound this down. But I think this is gonna be pretty good. At least I'm hopeful. It's a lot of juice, so we'll see. But let's give it a shot. Certainly smells good. And it's got pulp, and you can definitely taste it. That's pretty good. Okay, we're gonna head over, and then when we're done over there, we'll come back over here and finish up. So hang tight. So first up in August sales is this Blu-ray horror movie Triangle. Now this was open, not a sealed Blu-ray, and we found this with a stack of other horror Blu-rays in a Goodwill in Ellensburg, Washington, on our way over to see our granddaughter in Moses Lake. And typically, I don't look at used DVDs or used media like this for resale, but because it was horror, I scanned through a bunch of them. I actually kept a bunch because a couple of them were 3D movies, which I've been collecting. But this one scanned pretty good, and I ended up getting my full price of $40 on a couple of dollar investment. So it's always worth scanning. I don't scan all movies, but I'll scan things like horror. And I keep my eye on other YouTube channels that talk about valuable movies, ones like this that are out of print. And I don't know why it's out of print, but the value I think is in that and who's in the movie. So I'm not a big movie, you know, I don't really know much about the art of reselling movies, but that's the stuff I look for. Next up is this cordless handset, and these, I don't know where this particular one came from, but if you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I sell cordless handsets all the time, and I get them, either garage sales where that's, a lot of people basically are giving these things away, or I go to a free rummage sale, a donation rummage sale, and usually get them there pretty cheap, pennies on the dollar, and they kind of just sell eventually. So, in fact, I've got a huge pile of new inventory to get listed. I've been going through to see if I already have some of those models listed. So I'll just add quantity to my current listings. But these ones sold at $15 and pennies into these. These Crocs I got at a garage sale years ago. I actually got 2 pair of these black men's, large size. I guess they're men's or women's, doesn't matter. But men's size 11. So bigger ones. And these ones were new. I thought both pair were new. I paid $2 a pair, and these ones I finally listed, and I think I took an offer at $28 on these, so still pretty nice. So I sold this Super Smash Switch game. It's brand new sealed, and wouldn't you know, it was returned. Now I had just decided, I think in my last video or one of my previous videos, I talked about should I offer free returns? Should I offer free returns? Will that do anything for me? And one of the very first things I offered free returns on, I sell this game, and almost a month goes by, and the buyer says, I need to return it, bought by mistake. So I don't know what the deal was. So yes, I stopped offering free returns. I'm not going to deal with that. So now they did have to pay, I think they had to pay to ship it back, and I did not refund their original shipping. So I think, all is well, and I did get the game back in, unopened condition. I was kind of concerned about that. But I've got it back in inventory, hoping to sell it again. I bought several models like this, these balsa airplane models. A bunch came into Goodwill one day, and there were a lot of people digging through them. I grabbed certain ones, not... the prices were right on the cusp of should I even do this. I think I paid $12 for this one, but I still got my asking price of $45. And when I say 45, you'll notice my prices are always like $44.88, so not quite 45, but you know what I mean. I sell lots of juicer parts on this channel, or in my store, but I talk about them on this channel. This one had a sad ending because I don't normally sell this portion, the spout. This one, I have sold these because it's a little bit of a higher end spout for the Jack LaLanne juicer because it has a movable spout, I guess. Nowadays I don't even list the spouts, but this one sold. I took an offer for $5, and it met a sad ending because it arrived damaged. So I just refunded the buyer everything. So I lost money on that, but I typically buy these juicers for $2 at Goodwill when they're on sale, and then I part them out for about $25 to $30. So, just chalk it up to bad shipping. Here's another cordless handset. Like I was saying, it's kind of like printing money. Once you get them and test them and put them in inventory, eventually they sell, and then you ship them out. If you followed my channel for a while, you know the story of the red background. Here's a red background item. So that means this listing is really old, several years old. and that's my son's baby blanket. Now he has his own daughter now, who could use this baby blanket. She's just about to turn 1, so I used to use red because it really caught your eye, but it really doesn't work well with Google Lens or the other image search features that we have available now. So I've moved away from red, but occasionally you'll see a red background item on my listings, my sold listings. This was just a random, it was a Panasonic, we call them doublers, VHS and DVD player, not recorder. But I took an offer of $42. I could have paid up to $20 for this. I don't even know, because this was so old. It's not in my electronic inventory. But I don't buy these anymore. I only buy the kind of the Panasonic or Sony doublers that have a DVD recording feature. Unless it's one of the higher brands that I get super cheap. Like if I'm only paying $1 for a Sony regular doubler, that's fine. This boombox, I was really kind of on the fence about buying this because I did pay up. I think I paid, I want to say $55 for it at an estate sale. It was really cool though, and it had a kind of a cool feature that you don't see in boom boxes normally. It had a phono input, so you could hook up a regular record player to this. What was interesting about this purchase was I was at an estate sale, in-person estate sale. I saw it. Eventually I decided, okay, I'm going to buy it. And they have hold areas, so I put it in my hold area with my other stuff in my hold box. And later, as I'm looking around the sale, I walk into a room, and there it is, sitting on a table. And so I asked the person who runs the estate sale, I said, what's up with that? This was in my hold box. And he goes, I know who did that. Now, they really don't like people touching people's hold stuff. And so hopefully he talked to the person who did that, because that's super annoying. Here's another item that I got at the free rummage sale, and I call these the second trip in winners, because I'd already made one trip in, and it's kind of a madness when you first go in, because you're just basically grabbing anything that you immediately can see that has value, and then you got to carry that out to your car, and then you come back in. So I'd already made one trip out to my car, came back in, I found this stack of Digitrax stuff. Now there's I've sold another part of this, but this was the first sold. Now I got pennies into this, and I took an offer at $140. And if you don't know what Digitrax is, it's basically railroad stuff on steroids. It's really cool equipment, well made, highly desirable. I've got an entire set of Digitrax equipment that I'm also selling. I sold the books just recently. You'll see those in a later video. But this was awesome second trip in find at a scramble or rummage sale with tons of resellers. Here's another Pacific Rim. I think this was the second. I think you saw in a previous video you saw the other one that I sold. Just random, found those in the toy aisle at Goodwill, just thrown in with all the other junk as they do it. Really don't like how my Goodwill does toys, because you basically just you're lucky if you ever find anything in there. But I did notice this, and these figures nice and heavy, so you can you pick something up. It's part of my Venn diagram. It looks cool, well made, and heavy. When you get to a combination of those things, then it's worth looking at. I don't even recall where I got this. It might have been at the free rummage sale as well. Just a small cassette player, portable cassette player. This was Optimus, so that's radio, like the Radio Shack high-end brand, I think is what you would call that. I never expect to make much on those, and I almost didn't even list it, but I did get my full asking price of $13. This was a super cool find. I love when I find stuff like this, and I just happened to find it a few minutes before another reseller walked down the same aisle, and he probably would have bought this. But this was a sealed Duracraft kit, so a log cabin kit. You'd put this together. It's like a dollhouse, log cabin style. Really cool, still sealed. I mean, it was big and heavy, and I was Not sure what I was going to ask for it, but looking at some of the comp sales, I pushed a little bit higher because I think I had the only new set, new item listed, and I did get my full asking price of 130 plus shipping. All my stuff is plus shipping, by the way. I don't have free shipping on my items. Here's another cordless phone set, money printed. Took an offer of $12 for this one just because it was an odd set and I only had one charger, so it was worth getting rid of. And VTech is not my favorite. I I don't know what caused me to buy this popcorn popper, but I think I only paid a couple of dollars for it, and I got my full asking of 25. What I realized is you need to market those for your home coffee bean roaster people because they use those. So if you're going to sell a hot air popcorn popper, make sure you say coffee bean in your listing or coffee bean roaster, because that will definitely help you. Let's see, I gotta switch pages here, sorry. We are somewhere down in August, aren't we? This skeleton, Monster High doll. I randomly find these at Goodwill on occasion, and they're normally marked up. I probably paid $15 for this one. There was a little bit of damage to the box, but this doll was pretty desirable, and I think I've even sold one of these Skeleton dolls before. But I took an offer at 55, and my buyer was super happy. They actually messaged and said they didn't care about the package because they were going to take it out anyway and display it. So I do have a bunch of retail arbitrage Monster High dolls that I'm holding on to. I'm waiting for like a little bit of the wave of what's going to happen with Monster High now. I do pretty well with them, but I gotta time some things on that. This I couldn't not buy this set of Simpsons action figures and play sets. These were all, I think I had one bag of the figures and then 3 sets that were all marked differently. So I paid quite a bit for these, and I ended up taking an offer at 110. They were just too cool to pass up. But I probably had $60 into this, so not a real great resale winner, but it sold pretty quickly. I probably could have held out for more, but I was happy with 110. Here's something that I am looking for now. Now this is a Folkmanis puppet. This is the wolf with tag, and apparently they had different eyes, and so different color eyes. And I actually had someone. The person who bought it wanted to see a close picture of the eye to see which color eyes they were. I didn't realize that. But I got my full asking of $50, and I think I paid $7 for it. I have another Folkmanis puppet as well, I think a chameleon, that I have not sold yet. But these are pretty cool, and it was funny because I saw Kevin on Commonwealth Flipper with one of these wolf puppets as well. It's always kind of funny when you see the same items you're selling on some other YouTube channel, especially when they're not a normal sale. Okay, you're probably wondering, why did Kevin sell a Sonicare charger on his eBay store? Well, because I actually bought a charger and a Sonicare toothbrush used at an estate sale for $5, and I already sold the toothbrush for, I think I sold it just for $10, and I would never have thought that this charger itself would have sold. So that was kind of a weird flip. Now I'm wondering, should I just sell my own toothbrush and get a new one for myself? The funny things that sell on eBay never stop to amaze me. Here's some more juicer parts. This was a Hamilton Beach pulp cup. Pulp cups seem to be the best thing to sell for some reason. I don't know, maybe people break theirs all the time or what, but I seem to sell more pulp cups of juicers than anything else. And I got my asking price of $13. So as you know, I'll sell the pulp cup, the pusher. Pulp cup and pusher are the 2 best things to sell. But I also sell the blades, and they occasionally sell as well. And even the rubber feet will sell. Weird stuff. Okay, I couldn't pass this game up. When I was in Goodwill, it was sealed, and I just thought it was a funny game. It was called Pukes and Staggers, which I think is It was like an adult drinking game based on chutes and ladders. But there weren't really any comps, so I just priced it at $50, and I got $50. So awesome. No idea where this came from. I had it forever, and it was in a stack of stuff to someday put on eBay. I put it on eBay, and it sold. So I listed it. I tried to list. I don't remember how exactly I listed it, but it was for an iOmega Jazz computer drive, if you know what those are. Like a zip drive, but a slightly different format. It sold to a camera watch shop, so I'm not sure what their plans were for it. If they actually had an iOmega Jazz they wanted to use it for, but weird. I'm sure it came with some stuff I bought at some estate sale in the past that I wasn't buying for. It just was in a box, so it was. I got my $8 out of it. One more Samsung One Connect box. Man, I love finding these. These things are just gold. Mostly because Goodwill never prices them. I mean, if I pay $10, that's a lot. And I probably paid $10, maybe $8 for this one. And I got my asking price of $200. So, a gold nugget. Here's some cool Matchbox trucks. These were beer trucks. And it came in all 6 of these came in a bag. I paid $20 for the bag. And the comps were great. I couldn't believe the comps. And I actually had taken an offer at 80 for someone, and then they never paid, or they canceled or something. So I relisted and sold at my list price of $90. So I was happy for that. These speakers caused me so much consternation because they were awesome vintage Sony, or actually microphones for like a reel-to-reel. And I had them for a long time, finally listed them and sold them, and I could not find them. I could not find these things, and I was like moments away from canceling. I just went on a tear in the apartment here, looking in all kinds of boxes, and I found them in a weird place. Don't know why they were in there, but I found them. So I was super happy to get my $40 offer on these and get them shipped out. And I got good feedback from the buyer. Here's some more. I think this might be the last one. We'll see. This was retail arbitrage last year when we were waiting for my granddaughter to be born, and we just shopped in the Ross and Marshall stores in Moses Lake. Found a bunch of stuff. Actually, I think these came from Costco, but we did a bunch of retail arbitrage all in kind of that week span. Yeah, I think these actually came from Costco. And I probably paid $5 for these, so I'm not making a ton of money, but it was still interesting to do. I don't normally do that stuff, but it was fun to see that work out. Here's something I used to like to buy, and I just don't bother with stuff like this anymore. Just the time and how long they take to sell, and what you end up getting for them. I probably only had a few dollars into this. I think this one actually came from the free rummage sale. But I only got $20 for it, and it took forever. I think I have one more sitting here that once it's gone, I will not buy these again. But they're cool. We had one. I remember, you'd attach them to your kitchen cabinet, and you'd have a little stereo. Some of them even had flip-down TV screens you could play movies on. This one was just the stereo and CD player. Pretty cool. Here's a Ninja blender motor. I hardly ever sell these, but certain ones are good, have good sale through rate. So if I have to get ones, I'll still list them. It just seemed to take a long time to sell. I took an offer at $30 on this. I think I probably bought the motor with a pitcher, and probably paid either $15 or $25 for the whole thing. And I'm sure I've sold the pitcher for about $55 or $60, so still good money. Okay, these next two are golf clubs, and I have a love-hate relationship with golf clubs. I can't not buy them when they're good, when they have a good sell-through rate and a good price, but I just hate shipping these things. I just haven't gotten over that. But this was a Mizuno 3-wood. Nice club. I might have paid $10 for this. I don't recall, but I took an offer at $30. Happy to see it go. This next one was a Ping G5, which I was happy to get. I think this was the second of 2 ping drivers that I got. This one I sold for 60, and I think I'm pretty sure I paid $12 or $13 for this one, and the other ping, which I must have sold that the previous month. One of them I sold for $100, one I sold for 60. So both good clubs, but man, I love getting them, but I hate getting them. Okay, this Vitamix pitcher came from the free garage sale, free rummage sale. Man, and this was probably a third trip in, because they have like an outdoor tent with kitchen stuff in it. And I just walked through there. These were hanging on the wall. I grabbed both of them. There was actually another one that I sold maybe previously or in the future. And pennies on the dollar. I took an offer on this one. I think I sold the other one for more, but this one sold for 35 plus shipping, and just happy to find these things. Boy, these next few items, these are my continual, like, I get these things for $2 and then I part them out. This was a bread machine, pan and paddle. This particular setup, it had two mixing motors, so 2 paddles obviously in the pan at the same time. And I took an offer at $20. I paid $2 for the bread machine, so it's still my 10 times 10x is what I say. But these ones, bread machines, pans, they sell a little bit slower, but I still get them if I get them for $2. Here's another one of those Hamilton Beach pulp cups. Another one I sold for $13. And like I said, I'm paying $2 for the whole thing and then parting it out. This next one, this was a Breville juicer blade. I just I don't buy Breville stuff anymore, even if it's $2, because it just doesn't sell. I mean, I rarely sell anything Breville, so they must just be much better made, because people just don't need parts apparently. And I took an offer at $5 and I was happy to get it. I did recently sell another piece of a Breville juicer, but so there's hope. But yeah, I stay away from the Brevilles. They're good juicers if you want a juicer. I mean, but yeah, not good for resale, I think. I've been looking, kind of keeping my eye out for Disney stuff, not the stuff you buy in the Disney store, but stuff that you can only buy in the parks. And I just recently bought a couple of cool things that you'll see in later videos of stuff bought at Disney parks. Now, this was a little game that you could only buy at the park, and I only paid I think $5 for this game. It was really cool, really nice condition, sold fast, got $25 for it. So it was not a 10x, but it was a 5x. So happy to see that one. Here's a game. It's not a red background, but man, it was an old listing. Was this Upwards game, sealed, and this is something I would have bought like early on. Hey, a sealed game, I better buy that and sell it on eBay. Not realizing how slow stuff like this sells. And I took an offer at $12 and I was happy for that. I have been doing lots of board games, and this Unicorn Fever game came in, and kind of funny looking, kind of cool, kind of quirky. And the sold seemed to be okay, so I bought it. Probably paid $10 or $12 for the game, and I got my $40 out of it. So I'm happy with that. But there's certain games you just got to pass on, and I'm really paying attention to stuff like that more now than I ever have. This Sears food processor, this was awesome. This was such an awesome pickup at I think Value Village, and new in the box. And I really wasn't, the traffic on these is so low because they're just not out there. But I just felt like a new, brand new in the box would be a good selling point, and it was. I got my full asking, and it didn't take too long to sell, so super happy with that. Full asking of $90, and I probably paid $15 for this because I think it was a little bit high price for me. Okay, you're probably looking at these headphones going, why would you sell these, and why would someone pay $80 for them? So the key is that these are quadraphonic headphones, So there's actually two headphone jacks, so you get the front and rear. And I actually have another pair of these that I have with my quadraphonic reel-to-reel that I have. But these are kind of magic. If you see these, they are always going to be worth getting. And this was an electrophonic brand, which is not the best. In fact, I don't even know if there was any comps out there, but I priced it at 100 and took an offer at 80. And you just have to be able to pay attention, distinguish something that is valuable from something just a random everyday. And quadraphonic headphones, you can easily tell because they've got two headphone jacks. So sadly, when I shipped these Louis L'Amour cassettes, long after I had shipped them and they had been delivered, I realized I actually still had one. And I meant to ship this and just throw it in the mail, and I completely forgot about it. It's sitting here in front of me. I feel terrible. But I think the person was happy with what they got. They got a great deal. This set of tapes, now these are like books on tape from Louis L'Amour books. This set came from the free donation rummage sale. Pennies into these. I took an offer at 40. So they didn't get 29 tapes, they got 28 tapes. Here's an example of sometimes I will sell a Cuisinart food processor motor. This I got at my Goodwill, my local Goodwill in town, and I paid $10 for it, but the comps on this particular brand were really good, and I took an offer at $80 for this. Now these are a pain in the butt to ship because you got to deal with that motor spindle that sticks up. But I was able to fashion a box in a box and get everything handled nicely, and my buyer appreciated that with great feedback. But it's only certain ones will I attempt to sell the motors. Typically, I'm just going to deal with the pitcher, the bowl, whatever you want to call it. Here's a Leapfrog game, or I guess book. I guess it goes in your Leap reader. Very early purchase in my resale journey. This was bought at a garage sale several years ago with some other LeapPad stuff. I think I've already sold the other LeapPad stuff, but this was sealed, I think, or brand new at least. And I thought I'd make $1 million on it, and it turned out I sold it for $5, and I was happy to get the $5. So good to see it go. Here's an awesome calculator. This got this at Goodwill for $10. Sometimes they have weird pricing. Now, this looks like a regular old TI-84, but it's not. It's the Plus CE, and so I was happy to see it because I knew it would bring more than the regular TI-84s that you see a lot of. I did get my asking. I actually sold this once earlier, like a week earlier, and then they canceled. But it sold quickly after that again for my asking of $70, and I included the little USB cable with it that I had. I sell bats on occasion. Wood bats I hardly ever sell. I'm not sure if I bought this at a Goodwill or it came from a garage sale. I think it came from a garage sale. But I took an offer at 30. I was happy to see it move. I probably had a couple of dollars into it. Don't normally buy wooden bats. If I'm going to buy a bat, it's got to be worth at least $80, maybe 150 would be better. Just because I'm not in the business of storing baseball bats until someday in the future when they finally sell. So I just have a few listed right now. Here's another Grundig radio. I think the previous video you saw me sell a really nice one. These were all bought at an estate sale. I did not pay much for this one. I think $20. But it was. I felt like it was going to be a good flip, and it did. It sold quickly. And I took an offer at 70, which I was happy to just see it move along. This is not the old Grundig. This is the new Grundig that's kind of like a cheap Grundig, but still cool radio. Someone will be happy with it. If you're into shortwave and you want to try that out, it's nice to get at least a nice radio to begin with. Okay, we're getting towards the end here. This came from, I haven't talked about this in a while, but if you've been following along on my channel for a while, you know about the room that I bought at an estate sale. This room was filled with electronics. I've sold thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars out of that room, and I still have thousands and thousands to go. But one of the things I did buy in that room was there was a stack of manuals like this. This guy had tons of oscilloscopes and other equipment, and I grabbed, on day one, I grabbed all the manuals out of the closet because I knew these were valuable. And I've probably sold a dozen manuals like this. This was one of the cheaper ones, but when you have pennies into something like this, and someone's going to want it, and it's the original, it's not a reprint or something. These things are incredibly valuable, and I got 20 bucks for this one, pennies in. Here's another part of that large Goodwill Hot Wheels purchase I made earlier this year or late last year. I can't remember when. It was really debatable whether I should be buying the stuff because I think it was too high priced, but this stuff's selling. In fact, I just sold another one yesterday. So it's moving along. Not something I normally buy just because the price was kind of on the edge there. But I took an offer at 30 bucks for this one. I probably paid 10 for it. So still moving, but yeah, not something I would normally do. Not something I would do again, is what I would say. Similar, I bought these Skybusters at the same time. I think I bought this with another 3 or 4 other ones in a bag. So I paid a quantity price, but I probably had $6 or $7 into this one, and I got 20 bucks back. So not great, not what I like to do. Now this is what I like to do. This was just in a bag, probably from the same collector because all these things happened at the same time. These were in a bag. I think I paid less than $10 for the bag, but something about them. Now these weren't Micro Machines, but these were the Hot Wheels cars that are like Micro Machines, and they had these cool license plates. Which I have a vintage Firebird, and there was a vintage Firebird in here, and I was tempted to just keep it, but I wanted to keep the set together, and I took an offer at $100 for this set of micro cars. I thought that was pretty good. It went to a Hot Wheels dealer, so I'm sure they're going to make money on it, but I thought it was a great flip, a 10x flip. Okay, we're down to the last couple here. So this Panasonic shortwave radio was another, this was part of my, here's a box of stuff I forgot about, and I've sold hundreds of dollars out of that box. So I was happy to see such great sales, long forgotten box. So this nice Panasonic radio sold for $250, my asking, and my buyers already was super happy with getting it. So glad to see something sell like that. Here's another cordless mouse. Now this was an older PS2 style with an adapter, USB adapter. But I took an offer at 40, so I probably paid $5 for it. Typically, that's about what I'll pay for them. So I always keep my eye out for them. Not all of them are great, but some are pretty good. This was awesome. I loved the feedback I got for this. This was a brand new, in-the-box, Farberware electric skillet. And I've actually got another one similar, not the same, but another one here ready to sell. Found this at Goodwill. I did not pay much for this. It was crazy. It was less than $20 I paid for this Farberware skillet. Now, I sell just the power cord for these for good money. 30 bucks. You can make 30 bucks on a good power cord like this. This one, I ended up taking an offer at $150, and the people that bought it, the feedback was awesome. If I can clip it, I'll put that up. But they basically said, hey, this is like what we got at our wedding like 50 years ago. I forget exactly what they said, but and they wanted to replace it. So I was so happy to be able to get that. That's kind of my mantra for my store, is to find the right new home for these items. Here's another juicer. Oh, look, this was a Breville. So I've sold 2 Breville items this time. Another pulp bucket. I took an offer at $11. And the final item, the Star Wars Stormtrooper blaster gun. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes, I mean, you're not going to make $1,000,000. I ended up just taking $20 on this one. I had probably $6 into it. If you find a '90s Star Wars blaster, I mean, I'm probably always going to buy those. I normally get a little bit more, but I was fine with just taking 20 on this in this particular case. So, awesome sales this month.
I love real boring flips.
And we're back. So awesome sales. I love finding unique things and the whole process of finding stuff, listing it, selling it, getting it to new buyers, and then even on occasion hearing back from them how, what their experience with the new purchase was and how it affected them. I love that stuff. Even though my videos here have been pretty sporadic, very sporadic, because I'm just doing August now. I do regularly post sold, make posts about my solds on my Instagram channel, which is also at Real Boring Flip. So check me out there. You can send me questions there too, and love to hear the comments. I get comments on stuff I sell there and post there. So that you can get a little preview of what you're going to see in the video. But I usually talk more in the video about the items than I do post about them. So so come check that out. Really really excited to be in this phase of life where I get to kind of do what I want to do. Just 2 days in, already enjoying it. Miss my old team. We were working on actually a big project, so I'm excited to see how that finishes up in the next year. But after 33 plus years, it was nice to kind of move on to a new phase. So excited for this. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sending your comments and likes and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. That will really help me going forward. I'm really interested in moving this channel forward. There's lots of YouTube video channels out there. I watch a lot of them just to see what other people are saying. Trying to give a little bit of a unique view of especially what I'm looking for, what I'm selling, and why I bought it, why why I wanted to buy it in the first place, why I thought it would be a good resale item. So trying to give unique looks at stuff. You will see some live footage like in the field, but mostly it'll be us discussing either something I bought or something I sold, and then the background behind that. So hopefully you enjoy that. I know I do when I watch other people's channels. I do like watching live videos or in the field videos, so I will have some of that sprinkled in. But thanks again, and as always, join me next time. That is coco-cochito-y. Very, very coco-chito-y.